Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Learning Canadian English. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Maya. It's great to have you with us. Today we have a really special topic that's close to both of our hearts.
That's right. We're going to talk about the top 5 things newcomers wished they'd known before coming to Canada. This isn't just a random list, though. We actually sat down with our own parents who immigrated to Canada years ago and asked them what they wish someone had told them.
Mm-hmm. And it was a fascinating conversation. We got some really practical, honest answers that you won't always find in an official guide. So we've compiled their advice into a top 5 list for all of you.
Exactly. So whether you're planning a move, you've just arrived, or you're just curious about the immigrant experience in Canada, this episode is for you. Shall we jump into number 5?
Let's do it. So, kicking off our list at number 5 is something everyone talks about, but maybe doesn't fully understand the reality of, and that is Canadian weather is not a joke.
Oh, this was a big one for my dad. He came from a very warm country. He knew it would be cold, but he didn't understand the type of cold. It's not just about the temperature you see on the thermometer.
Exactly. My mom told me about wind chill. That's a key vocabulary word for newcomers. Wind chill. It's how cold the air feels on your skin because of the wind. So the forecast might say minus 10 degrees Celsius, but with the wind chill, it feels like minus 20.
Right, and that's a huge difference. My dad said he wished he knew about layering, wearing multiple layers of clothing, not just one big thick coat. You need a base layer, a middle layer like a fleece sweater, and then your waterproof, windproof outer layer.
Yes, layering is key. And good boots, waterproof, insulated boots, not just stylish sneakers. Your feet will be the first to get cold and wet from the snow. And a toque, that's T-O-Q-U-E, a Canadian word for a winter hat.
And it's also important to remember that Canadian winter means different things depending on where you are. A winter in Vancouver with lots of rain and temperatures around zero is completely different from a winter in Winnipeg or Edmonton, where it can drop to minus 30 or even minus 40. Research the specific climate of the city you're moving to. A toque, gloves, and a scarf are essential. My dad said he spent his first winter freezing because he didn't invest in proper winter gear right away. It can be expensive, but it's absolutely necessary for your health and comfort.
That's such a good point. So the lesson for number 5 is understand wind chill, learn to layer your clothes, and invest in proper winter gear as soon as you can. It makes a world of difference.
Okay, moving on to number 4. This one is about money. The fourth thing newcomers wish they'd known is the true cost of living.
The cost of living. This is a big one. People might research rent prices, but they don't always think about all the other expenses. My mom said she was shocked by the cost of her phone bill and car insurance.
Totally. Canada has some of the highest cell phone and internet prices in the world. So when you're making your budget, you need to account for that. It's not a small expense. Same with car insurance. It can be several $100s a month, especially when you're a new driver in Canada.
And groceries. Food prices can be a surprise. My parents were used to buying fresh produce at outdoor markets for very cheap. Here, produce can be expensive, especially in the winter when it has to be imported.
That's true. Another thing is taxes. The price you see on the tag in a store is not the final price. You have to add a sales tax, which is different in every province. It's usually between 5% and 15%. That can add up.
Yes, the sticker shock is real. So for number 4, the advice is to do deep research on your budget. Look up average costs for groceries, transportation, phone plans, and utilities in the specific city you plan to live in. Don't just look at rent.
Great advice. All right, let's move to the halfway point. Number 3 on our list is a big challenge for many professionally trained newcomers. It's the concept of needing Canadian experience to get a job.
This one is so frustrating. My dad was an experienced engineer back home with years of experience. But when he came to Canada, many employers told him he didn't have Canadian experience.
Right. It's a very difficult situation. It feels like a catch-22. You need experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience.
So, what does it mean? Often, it means an employer wants to see that you understand the Canadian workplace culture or that you have references from Canadian managers. Sometimes it's about having specific Canadian certifications or licenses for your profession.
Mm-hmm. My dad wished he had started the process of getting his engineering credentials recognized before he moved. It took a lot of time and money once he was here. So, if your profession is regulated, like engineering, nursing, or teaching, start that process as early as possible.
That's a fantastic tip. Another thing my mom suggested was volunteering. Volunteering in your field can be a great way to get that initial Canadian experience on your resume. It helps you build a network and get local references.
Volunteering, yes. Also, look for bridging programs. These are special programs designed to help internationally trained professionals transition into the Canadian job market. They can be incredibly helpful.
So, for number three, the key takeaway is to be prepared for the Canadian Experience Challenge. Research your professional requirements early and consider volunteering or bridging programs to get your foot in the door.
Okay, on to number two. This is another area where there are a lot of myths. We're talking about the Canadian healthcare system.
Right. People hear free healthcare and they imagine everything is covered instantly. But my parents wish they'd understood the details better.
First, it's not exactly free. It's paid for by our taxes. But the big thing to know is that the public health plan covers essential doctor visits and hospital stays. It does not cover everything.
That's the crucial part. Prescription drugs, dental care, and eye exams are generally not covered. My dad needed a root canal in his second year here, and the cost was a huge, unexpected shock.
Wow, yeah, dental work is very expensive. That's why most Canadians have supplemental private health insurance, usually through their employer, to help cover these costs. If you don't have that, you have to pay out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. And another thing is wait times. While emergency care is excellent, there can be long waits to see a specialist, like a dermatologist or a surgeon for a non-urgent procedure. You also need a referral from a family doctor to see a specialist.
Finding a family doctor can be a challenge in itself. In many cities, there are shortages, so you might have to put your name on a waiting list and use walk-in clinics in the meantime.
So, the advice for number two is to understand what public health care does and does not cover. Plan to get supplemental insurance if you can, and be patient with the system. Find out how to register for a family doctor as soon as you arrive.
Excellent summary. And that brings us to the number one thing newcomers wish they'd known before coming to Canada. And I think this one might surprise some listeners. It's the importance of building a credit history.
Yes, this was number one for both of our families. The concept of a credit score was completely new to them. In many countries, you just pay for things with the money you have. The idea of borrowing money to prove you're financially responsible is strange.
It really is. A credit history is a record of how you've managed debt, and your credit score is a number that summarizes that history. When you're a newcomer, you have no Canadian credit history, which basically makes you invisible to the financial system.
Right. And that affects everything. My parents had trouble renting an apartment because landlords wanted to check their credit score. They couldn't get a credit card or a phone plan without a huge security deposit. It was a major, unexpected barrier.
It's a huge barrier. So, the most important piece of advice is to start building your credit history immediately. The moment you have your social insurance number, you can start.
So, how do you do that? The best way is to get a secured credit card. This is where you give the bank a deposit, say $500, and they give you a credit card with a $500 limit. It's low risk for them.
Exactly. Then you use that card for small, regular purchases like groceries or gas, and this is the most important part, you pay the full balance on time every single month. Never miss a payment.
Pay the full balance. That shows you're a responsible borrower. After about 6 months to a year of doing this, you'll have a credit history and a credit score, and that will open up so many doors for you.
It's life-changing. So to recap, number one, learn about credit history, get a secured credit card as soon as possible, use it responsibly, and always pay your bill in full and on time.
Wow, what a list. So let's do a quick review. Number 5 was the weather, especially wind chill and layering.
Number four, the true cost of living, including things like phone bills, insurance, and taxes.
Number 3 was the challenge of Canadian experience and the importance of volunteering or bridging programs.
Number two, understanding the realities of the healthcare system, what's covered, what's not, and the potential for wait times.
And number 1, the crucial, super important need to build a Canadian credit history right away.
We really hope this list, based on the real experiences of our families, is helpful for you. Moving to a new country is a huge undertaking, and having a little inside knowledge can make the transition so much smoother.
Definitely. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 24 of Learning Canadian English. We'll be back next time with a new topic to help you on your Canadian journey.
Until then, take care and keep practicing. Bye, everyone.
Bye.